Actually, this month we did housing levy for our clients. So same way, 1.5 and 1.5, 1.5 for the employer and 1.5 for the employee. But now, one of the things that this is a public notice, and always look at this. This is the official communication of anything that KRA is doing. So we are really quick to just check. This is, even if we get here, say, until we get this is the time we can tell you this is the correct position. So one of the issues that housing levy, despite the legal framework that now has been followed, was that there was issues of inclusivity, that it did not able to cover every person on it, because it was geared towards somebody who's employed. And there are so many people that are unemployed. There are so many people who are doing business, and it was not included there. What if you also owned a house and you have a home? Why were you? So there are so many still gray areas on it. So they propose exemptions. These exemptions are not, if they're not gazetted. So until we get such a communication like this one, I'm telling you, it's not gazetted. So some of them are individuals diagnosed with terminal illness by certified medical. So there will be exemptions. So these are some of the exemptions. Residents in rural areas which hold a title deed. So this is a time to own a home. So if you don't want to do housing levy, then you should own a home. So if you hold a title deed, and of course, title deed has to be on your name. I know they will bring in some regulations on this. People engaged in agricultural farming or businesses, annual turnover less than 288. So that's about 24,000. Where the personal relief below where pay starts. But at the moment, housing levy is for everybody. So also individuals with a mortgage. So if you have a mortgage, Kenyans age 50 and above who are not involved in informal business activities, any person with less than 5 years until statutory retirement, if you're about to retire. So these are exemptions, but they are not gazetted. So they have to go through the cabinet, the gazette, the whole process of participation and everything until they get to the level that they can be. And I'm very sure that this will take a long time, so that we make sure that we first they first collect the housing levy before they introduce the exemptions. And of course, these exemptions requires a lot of lobbying. So the activists, if you're not vibrant, to make sure that this happens, if the push is not there, then some of these things, they're just mentioned and they die off. So let's talk about the Social Health Insurance Fund. And as we're talking about this, doctors are not working. I don't know. But this was introduced to replace the NHIF. There's a bit of a difference. So the difference is that it is aiming to make sure there is a universal coverage. It has a bit of reduced cost for people that are not earning a lot of money. If you check, for instance, if you are informal, we are doing 500 now, you're going to do 300. But for people who are earning more, 2.75 without capping. The earlier one had a capping of 1,700. So it's very expensive. And actually, for somebody who is earning more money, I guess everything has been on you. We have housing levy that doesn't have a limit. which I think for me, we should have had that limit. So if you're earning 500,000, 400,000, and I know some of you who are not earning that money, you're like, see, they're earning a lot, then they pay more. But if you're earning more, the housing levy is on you. SHIF that doesn't have a capping, 2.75 is on you. I think that was extremely unfair. So improved quality of the healthcare, being able to go, I guess, to level 6 and level. So then for us, we thought NHIF was really working so well. So this is the new rates, and actually some organizations have been able to adopt the new rates. Actually, you can see. So if you're earning 20,000, with SHIF is a lower, but at about 50,000, the SHIF becomes more expensive. So you can imagine if you're earning 200,000, you'll be paying 5,500. And previously you are paying 1,700, which was a limit. So if you are earning $1 million, you pay more. So it is supposed to be effective in July. And July is not far, and some organizations have been able to adopt. Actually, you can adopt. If your people are below 50,000, you may find that you are actually deducting them less, and you just adopt. Fringe benefit. So also this one, fringe benefit has been gazetted. So this was gazetted, I guess, this month. So the fringe benefit and dipped interest rates. Also, this has been on employee, is geared on employee. So for fringe benefit, if you've been given a loan by the employer, and the employer gives you a loan of, and possibly gives you 5%, 7% interest rate, the difference between the market rate and whatever you've been provided is a fringe benefit, and it is taxable at 16%. So the rate has been set at 16%, while as deemed interest, this is why you're getting a loan and possibly there's no even interest at all. Then the deemed interest for that loan is 15%. That is the deemed interest for that loan. So it is just making sure that the benefits that you're getting at work, there are also some taxes on them. So that is a notice. I know you have a lot of comments on the, I'm hoping you're able to talk on the Q&A. Possibly my co-host can tell me if the chats have been okay. And if you've been able to raise your questions. So the other one is the tax obligation. Also, this was a notice, and this has always been there. If you objections, if you there's an objection framework. If you go through a tax audit and you feel that you're not acquainted, all the taxes that have been raised, you are justified that there were more, there is a framework that you can use. And this is something that we also do to our client. So we can go through the objection process, should happen within 30 days. There is the objection process, there is a tribunal, there is the ADR, and all this. When I talk about tax audits, I tell you the processes and what happens at every level. This was meant to say that the objection, most of the time the objection will do objection at Upper Hill, mostly when an organization you do objection, you find that it is transferred from the station level. But KRA has come up with the station levels that you can be able to do an objection. So according to that list, you can see Central, Northern region, Nairobi region, there's the Pension Tower, Upper Hill. That's where the central place has been. Southern region, we have Customs House, Mombasa, that you can now go through the objection process without coming to Nairobi and being being handled at your station level, and knowing that you can get acquainted. It's not like when you get a demand, 5 million demand on your portal, and you feel like you don't have a way out. There is a way out. You can go through the objection process, and at the objection process, if they still say that 5 million you're supposed to pay, and you have documentation, you have evidence, you can still go to the tribunal, you can go to the ADR, and that is one of our core business. That's what we do for our clients, so that we make sure that tax, they are acquainted, they get fair assessments. So that's what mostly I do for clients. So if you have such a case, you can talk to us. So we have e-filing. I'll talk about e-filing come on Friday, the auto-population. And I guess I'll be talking about it on 19th, when we'll be almost a day. But the auto-population is very easy. You can be able to auto-populate your data. So this is a sample invoice, sample items invoice. So the one on the, I don't know, is on the left on your side. The one I'm saying buyer's PIN. And make sure, if you're going to get this items invoice and you're going to claim, the buyer's PIN has to be there. Even in the supermarket, by the way, and they're allowing, yes. You can go to the customer care service and tell them, input my PIN number there, and they are going to input it there. If you're going to claim, make sure that this buyer's PIN will be there. Otherwise, when you auto-populate that data, it's going to be very hectic for you. So when you receive that invoice, so you're doing purchases. And by the way, when I go to organizations that are corporate organizations, they're doing a lot of sales. They have tax accountants. And that's where we are headed. They have tax accountant in the office. That when that tax accountant gets an invoice or a purchase invoice, they are able to counter check. So you go to the iTax portal and you counter check, you scan. They can even scan before they even accept that invoice. They can scan. They have a scanner. They can scan and see if that invoice is reflecting on the iTax portal. Very important. Don't just pick it and keep it. It can be invalid. Invoice, someone just did it, but they did not complete the process, or it's manufactured Uko River Road. No Kenyans are still Kenyans. So make sure that you are able to, before you make that transaction full, before you even make payment, because this is a supplier, these are purchases that you're making, before you make that payment, verify that invoice. Very important. And you can go to the iTax portal. When you open it, has the control unit checker. It has the control unit invoice number checker. You can do the QR code. So it has 3 ways to do the checks. So if you're using the items, the point of sale, it is giving you the other one on the other side. And if you're doing the items light, I'm going to talk about those light and everything on Friday, it's still giving you such an invoice. So, so when you come into auto-populate, so you log in, you come to the returns. At the return, you go to the next level. You come and say what you want, VAT, hapo chini. I know some of you know this. So I'm just pushing. And then when you select VAT, you can see down the auto-population. The auto-population, you can see VAT. I hope you can be able to see where I'm pointing. Then you can tap there and download the data. So you're going to save it in your file, like what I've done here. After you file, the document comes this way. So this is how you get the document, the data. So it has the sales. of course, you can, because now you can also generate a Z report on your items invoice. You can be able to counter check your sales. It's very important. Just counter check the sales. And this sales is being you can see them per date, very well, per the number, everything there. And then you have your purchases. And the purchases is the biggest problem. So I'm hoping you're having your purchases files. So with your purchases files, counter check each one of them. Just counter check. So when you find that you have a purchase invoice which is not here, then you can input, and it will accept as long as it is compliant and the person who gave you completed the entire process. So previously, last month, when we were having a headache, all those purchases that were not auto-populated were not able to, when we would incorporate them, were not able to, the system couldn't accept until they were able to reopen the system. So we are getting to levels that the system will be closed, totally closed. So at the moment, just learn how to do it, because we are getting to that level. The rate we are running, we are getting there. So after you counter check, you come back and import the data back to the system, to the portal, to the VAT return portal. And when you import the data back, you validate the data and you file, and the entire process is complete. So I challenge you, auto-populate for the month of March and see what it provides. And so auto-populate, learn, verify the invoice prior to you making payment. Verify the invoice prior you receiving it. That will really help you solve some of those issues. Let me talk about amnesty. Give me 10 minutes only. Let me talk about the amnesty. Amnesty, we are in April, so May and June. So I hope some of you have been able to understand the amnesty and being able to apply for the amnesty. This was the amnesty for penalties and interest for the period up to December 2022. So, and this was for individual, and especially some of you, I know some of you come here because of your companies, but you as a personal, do you have arrears of the system on your personal? If you have, even if they are 20 years, you just apply for this amnesty. Unaweka 1 shillings, and then you you can get that amnesty. So it's very important. Just look at even your personal pins, if you have for your brothers, sisters, everybody, you can clear those penalties with the amnesty. For company, you have to do a payment plan, and right now the payment plan, I guess, is just for a month, 2 months, until June 30th. For you to pay, you pay the principal amount, then the amnesty, you're given amnesty of penalties and interest. And if you have a principal amount of like, let's say 100,000, and you pay for 20,000, for instance, let me say what, okay. If you're having, for instance, like 3 months, you're not paid principal amount for 3 months. So month 1 is 30,000, month 2 is 20, month 3 is 40. So that is how much? 90. So if you pay principal amount for 30, of course the 30 has penalties and interest. If you pay for 30 and you get amnesty for that 30. So if you pay now for 20, you get amnesty for that. If you pay for 40, you get amnesty for that. So you can get amnesty as you continue paying. So kindly do the payments and enjoy the amnesty. So what are some of the recent cases? I'll mention one. KRA versus Ferradon Associates Limited. So this is a case, and the challenge was that the issue at hand was the deduction of input tax claimed for the period. So the company had claimed purchases or inputs, and the KRA said that they did not have correct documentation. So these are document issue. And the act, this was what was stated, that the case, they argued, so the company argued that it was not obliged to prove genuineness of the ETR provided. It was not the obligation to show. Contended that it had provided or requested document to KRA demonstrating that the expense was incurred legitimately. So when you provide a bank statement, when you provide mostly the provision here was for the invoice, that they have provided an invoice and the invoice has the ATR receipt. So they ascertain that once it provided the ATR receipt, it discharges is evidently the burden of proof. And that for them, they were saying, I don't have to go back to this supplier and want to understand if they are legitimate or not, as long as I have a purchase invoice and it has ATR. But KRA argued that the burden of proof lies with the company, and that's the truth. So when you're going through such a case, KRA want to see the proof of payment. They want to see the checks that you pay. They want to see the bank statement with the name. If you're paying RWK and Associates, they want to see that check. They want to see that bank statement that stated that you paid RWK and Associates 500,000. They want to see proof of payment. So when they prove, they can now acquaint you. So for instance, possibly now me, the RWK and Associate, I did not file. I gave you an ATR. I did not do now the taxes, the correct taxes after. I gave you ATRs. I gave you a purchase invoice. You paid me. Now you've been able to prove. But now, after proving, now KRA can come back to Regina, RWK and Associates, and say, now we have data that you sold ABCD, now we need taxes. Possibly this other company, I don't know that magnitude of that part, possibly the other company did not file the returns. Now they can go back to the other company and want to know, bring all these taxes they are bringing from you to now this company and tell them to pay taxes. But the burden of proof lies with you as a company. And that is where the issue of invalid invoices, a missing trader happened. These were so many issues with us. I don't know if that was the issue, but the burden of proof lies with you as a company. And that's why I'm saying, even with the items, the validity and the genuineness of that invoice lies with you. So when you get that invoice, someone just came from nowhere, they want to sell you something, and you look at it and you say, if I buy this, it's a good raw material. And then before you make payment, look at that invoice. Go to KRA. The iTax portal has places where you can prove. So you can no longer go to KRA and tell them, I got this invoice. I did not know that this person was not legitimate. It's only hearsay. It's only hearsay. That invoice will be disallowed and you're going to pay taxes on it. So the burden of proof lies with you as a company. And if they find a way that they cannot be able to get the person who sold to you, because there are those cases, someone sends you something and they're fictitious, you cannot locate them. Have you ever seen an invoice that doesn't even have a phone number? It doesn't even have a phone, as in, it doesn't have anything. It's just numbers and everything. And yet you pay that person 500. You've been doing business with somebody. If they determine now that they cannot find this person, and for sure, how will they be able to find? If they open the PIN certificate, the numbers that are there, they're not even going through, the email is not going through. They come back to you and they tell you, this person, you knew this person because you're doing this business together, so pay the taxes. So even you working with somebody who is genuine and legal is also a burden to you. So I guess you've been able to understand that one. So bookkeeping and burden of proof is lying with you. So the High Court ruled in favor of KRA, upholding the decision to disallow the input tax claimed. The court emphasizes that according to Section 17 of the VAT Act, input tax is permissible only when incurred through the actual purchase of taxable supplies. Okay, so the court found that the company failed to sufficiently demonstrate the evidence of genuine commercial transaction. So that was the genuine part, and then they were told to pay the taxes. Okay, so a different case altogether. So this is the Commissioner KRA versus the company. And these cases, we pick them from Business Daily. These are cases that are on public domain. So the issue here was the interpretation of excise duty. So the excise duty for this case, the excise duty has so many rates. So when you hear of liquor, wine, spirit, all of them have different rates, water. So you can have a company that have like 10 of them, 10 different excise rates because of the 10 products they are doing. So for you even to get the correct rate, you have to go to KRA. So for companies that generate, manufacture especially, for instance, beer. So there's beer, there's spirit, wine. I don't know so many of the combinations. So that combination has a different code. So this one, the argument was on the coding, that the code, and these are, they change. The same way Finance Act changes, you hear that the rating changed. So at this particular point, the rate changed. So at the point the rate changed, the company was unable to change the rate, and they did not. The argument first was by the time they were incorporating, the rates had not changed. There was a day they incorporated and the day they started the business also. So those were the arguments, especially on the change of rates. So this one, the court, the High Court and the tax, they favored the company because they were able to demonstrate by the time the rates were changing, they had not commenced the operations. And by the time the rates were changed also, they were not, at that particular point, they were not doing that particular product. Okay. So when we go to the courts, and this is the hierarchy, you go to, when I talk about audit, I talk about audit at the station level, at the objection level, tribunal, what you go to the ADR, is a whole process, a whole training. You can win or lose. So for me, when I look at your case, I'm able to judge, are we going to lose or we are going to win because it's a lengthy process. It's a process that has so many meetings, so many back and forth, so many documentation. So is the client able to win? And are we winning against what? So if it's something that we can solve. We've seen, for us, we've been able to solve very major cases where at the objection level, you find at the station level, and KRA has a way of really sitting on you. So at the station level, you find a client has been demanded $1 billion. And when we look at the issues, we say we can justify this, we justify. Then at that time when we're going to the objection, we justify. Then the case is reduced from 1 billion to about 300 million. So that time now we object at 300 million. So that now we can go to the tribunal and to the ADR. And you find, according to the documentation, you find that client is being at the end, we are able to justify until the client is given an assessment of even 20 million and even less. So we can be able to judge the case and also be able to, and also understanding the whole process. So that when we are engaging and you are able to understand and we work together. And I always say cases is documentation. So documentation has to be kept very well. So who are we? I'm closing. I don't know if there are questions. I'll look at the chat. So we are RWK Associates. If you've not been here before, I said you go ahead and follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and every time we have such a training, you can come in and learn. We are having our office in Thika, and we have an office in Westlands Road. And our numbers are there. You can talk to us. And there's something I wanted to introduce to you: bookkeeping masterclass. Last month we did taxation masterclass, and so many of you came on board. And we are going to do that taxation masterclass come July. But for now, we want to do bookkeeping next month. That will be 6 or 10, 5 days of you learning about bookkeeping. And my interest on bookkeeping is that most of the tax issues that we handle with clients is on documentation. So I would want you to come and learn. What are the books required for tax audits? How do you keep them? How do you keep the ledgers well, the reconciliations, every single thing? And the good side with our training, they are very practical, extremely practical. And I guess on Friday, I'm going to give you the reviews that we got for the masterclass. And I would want you to really come and learn. So I don't know if you are having a chat on the chat. I don't know, my co-host. If you want to come and learn this, there's a number there that you can call. I don't know if the link is available on the chat. My co-host, if the link is available for you to do registration, it is there. Just come, and we give you a certificate for this, and you can still use that certificate to get CPD hours for it. And we are NITA certified for the training. So for this month, we having trainings. So we have a training on the export tax implications in the export business. So we also do sector-based tax webinars. So we've been doing this next week on Wednesday. So if you're in this business, export business, I'll be training you about everything about taxes and the implications. So just come learn, and it will be very helpful for your business. Then on Friday, we'll learn about e-teams, understanding e-teams. This will be on Friday, and I want you to come and learn. I will train everything from where we started, ETL to teams to e-teams to every single formula. Every single thing, I'll train you on e-teams on Friday. It will be 2 hours, so you have a lengthy time to learn more. So we are RWK Associates. You can also follow me. You can find me on LinkedIn and on Facebook. You can find Regina Kengori CPAK, and you can follow. Every time we have something new, you can always see. And you can also see much more that I do on there. We have several services. We have internal audits that you can, we can do an internal audit for your organization, where this is a quarterly review. of the accounting system that you have, bank reconciliation, internal controls. We help you do tax health check, management report for the period. We do our payroll review, the procurement and the reconciliation, payables and receivables reconciliation. With this, with the items and the issues that are happening, the first thing for you to do is to have correct records. The times that we would wait until a full year, then during audit is the time you're calling the auditor. They are long gone. Now you need to put everything together. And even if you're having accountants in the office, this is very important for you. Just an extra eye that everything is on order. The accounting software is okay. The balance, the ledgers in the system, they are okay. The bank reconciliation have been done, and so many issues that we help you do. And we are very affordable for this. We also do bookkeeping. If you want us to enhance your bookkeeping, possibly you don't have an accountant, or you have an accountant who is overwhelmed. Possibly they are doing a lot of daily works, invoicing. So we help you do management report on a monthly basis, filing of the returns, reconciliation, payroll, and trial balances, cost management. We have a lot of costing right now. So we help you do that. So we have a whole department of bookkeeping, a whole department of internal controls. Tax services, this is my area of interest. So I'm able to help you, especially with tax cases at the KRA, and even representing you at the ADR, at the tribunal, objection level, tax case that you're having, and tax health check. I would really want you to do a tax health check. You might not be having issues, you've not had issues anywhere, but you want to see how your tax issues you've been doing, how you can improve, how you can be able to be more compliant. So this is a tax health check. We do the past 2 months, 2 years, sorry. We look at all your tax checks, and we help you do tax planning. So you can also talk to us. It is very practical. So before I move out of there, let me look now at your charts. I've been just talking without looking. I don't know, my co-host, were the charts available? I don't know leo items imetutenda ama what is going on. Okay. So for you who are expert of teams, I guess I don't know. Well, question and answer. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I don't know. Okay. But last month I asked you if we go back to Zoom, but you said Teams is the way to go. So we'll hack it. We'll work on it until we hack it. And for eTeams on Friday, we'll be talking about the background of eTeams, the overview of eTeams, types of eTeams. Some of you keep asking me which teams, and by the way, eTeams is requiring some training. There are people who are unable to input data. You know, it's a point of sale. It's web-based. And I really want you to come, because you have to input your stocks there. You have to input your stocks there. So, and I'll show you the implication of you having the stocks there, because you can not purchase and not sell. So you cannot have so many purchases and you're not selling. So KRA is not just interested on looking at your sales, they also want to monitor your stocks. So kuna mahali, I'll show you how the implication of the whole thing. So that when you're doing such things, when you're buying and you're telling the person where you're buying from, give me that invoice. And because that's what we do, you make sure that your purchases, you find some of us, our purchases are so high and our sales are very small. Items itatoshika. Because at the end of the year, because of those purchases you've been doing, KRA is going to lump all your purchases, and they can even pick one item, one of your major items. Sini hardware, we see cement, Babuli or Savannah is always selling to you. But on your side, we cannot see the sales. They will lump and they will tell you, Savannah, according to our items calculations, Savannah have sold you 1,000 bags the whole year. But on your side, we can see 100 bags. So why is it 900 bags? Because the point of sale, the items, you have to specify the item that you're selling. So that's a tester for Friday. So I'll talk about that. So let me look at your questions. Let me look at your questions. If my organization offers to pay for its online training for staff, do you provide an items invoice? Yes, we do. If the training is from us, yes, we do. Invite me on a training. Okay. Good morning, Regina. I have a question. Ideal. Okay. So some of you have seen that they have been answered. Ideal return on investment for business. Okay. What is the best way to resolve this? Suppliers raise zero rated invoice instead of general rated invoice before they issued credit note and raise an invoice. Okay. Why did they issue a zero rated? So if they issued a zero rated and you notice, tell them issue a credit note and issue an the zero rated. First of all, was whatever you bought zero rated. First of all, if it is zero rated, the iTax portal has the zero rated section. So it has the standard rated, exempt, and a zero. For instance, if you're in a wholesale food stuff, you find there are food stuff that are 16%, like cooking oil. You find there are others that are exempted, and you find like flour, they'll find others that are zero rated. So for that person, they are supposed to file on those categories. And when they're issuing even their items, they are supposed to issue that items in those on your website. Categories. So if you was it zero rated, was this supposed to be there? To show us your if it was not supposed to be there, it was an error, or they were avoiding to pay taxes. Return it back to them. Tell them issue a credit note and issue me a fresh invoice. The bad side is that when they issue the invoice, they're going to issue the invoice for this month. To read your content, so or if you wanted revenue from your e-commerce site, this data can help you make improvements. You're going to lose that to grow your brand or your business. But you're going to gain it for this month. Website so, and that's why Analytics, you can understand the engagement of your viewers on your website. You can also customize the reports that use this code on every page of your website. If your web developer can add it for you. If you'll be the one to add this code, look for the head HTML elements on the top of your website's HTML code. You need to paste this entire script inside the head HTML codes, like what you see in this notepad. Now, if you need to install the Google tags using your website builder, you can your transactions. That's for the boda guys need to register for items. So, if you're doing boda, so your company and you've called the boda person, possibly you sent them. They're running errands for you. So you've sent them somewhere, you're paying them 500,000, 500 shillings. They can sign a petty cash. eTeams is not working on salaries, wages, and some of those allowances. This is something that you've done an allowance to this person. So the match that I know KRA keep revising some things. They can even get to a point to tell them kuna items light, mwambie afanye hiyo items invoice. But at the moment, let them sign a petty cash. Hello, an organization of items will be. Okay, hello, for an organization who onboarded teams, will there be a day that KRA will need it to onboard? Yes. And this one, I prophesy. Before this month is over, all of us, even those ones on teams, will go to e-teams. And I'll share on Friday the difference between the two. I'll share the difference between the two. And for you, actually, if you find most of the teams machine, they are failing if you not noticed. So many are telling me iko na shida, and right now you cannot get a Teams machine. So if it is not working, you have to get a e-Teams machine. So I foresee the reason why KRA has not insisted that if you have Teams, you onboard e-Teams is because there was a cost implication. We bought those things. So there was a cost implication. So I'm very sure before 1 year is over of using Teams, they're going to insist that all of us should be on Teams, on e-Teams. So do we still have 6-month period for the VAT? Yes, we still have as before, but now the system is speaking. So why would you have a purchase and you don't want to use it? So the 6-month period, the act has not changed on that. But the system, the auto-population system is picking. It is picking your full data. It is picking your full purchases from everywhere. So I guess with that, today I'm not going to open for questions. Come on Friday, I'll open where we can have some questions. For now, I've just answered a few. I can see some of you have been answered. So if you want to do the bookkeeping, you can talk to us. It is going to be very practical, and you're going to really learn a lot. Also, we have a booking. If you want to learn about e-Teams, if you want to be, because e-Teams is require a bit of training to input the data to everything. I guess the department is charging very small fee for you to be able to understand it, to incorporate, to understand. There is integration. I will talk about integration on Friday. And you can talk to us. And then if you have something that you just wanted to ask, there's a calendar you can do a free booking, free consultation. I guess on my chat, my co-host has indicated there's a booking, free booking. Free booking on, and you can talk to us on us. The team will call you for a Zoom call, and we can talk. If you need to talk to me, you can find the number 0728. You can call and request to talk to me. I'll still talk to you. So with that, I say thank you so much. I hope that the e-Teams will work, the WebEx the Teams will work much better on Friday. And I thank you for coming on board. This conversation we had today was live on YouTube. It was live on YouTube. So when you go to our Facebook page, you can see there was a link directing you to the YouTube. So you can listen again and where you did not able to understand and understand better. And then see you on Wednesday for exports. If you're in export business and if you know somebody who is doing export, and see you on Friday for e-Teams, understanding e-Teams. So we'll talk in length everything. We'll really talk, and practicals. I'll do a bit of our practicals on Friday meetings. So with that, I say thank you so much. God bless you. Have a lovely Friday. Enjoy yourself. And yes, good afternoon.